So good morning everyone, and a very warm welcome to each one of you from the very core of my heart to this introductory program on sound healing. So this is actually meant for people who haven't had any experience of sound healing and who would like to know more as to how sound healing works and what are the essentials. But sometimes even those people who have been attending for some time or who have attended sessions, it may be good to know some details which we normally don't talk about in a usual program. So a very warm welcome to each one of you, whether you are the first timer or an old timer. We are all familiar with sound. There are sounds everywhere around us, and we are surrounded by sounds. And each of one of us also knows how sound affects us. We experience it in our daily life, in interpersonal relationships. There are people who speak in a manner which seems very persuasive. They have lots of friends. They have people obeying their commands or requests. Requests are taken as commands. And there are other people who speak in a manner where they have the ability to vitiate a nice atmosphere. Everything is fine, but a person comes and starts talking, and things go out of hand. So there is sound which creates resonance, and there is sound that creates dissonance, confrontation, alienation. So this is about how we speak. But even otherwise, sounds have a tremendous ability to affect our consciousness, our mind and our bodies. So this is where the science of sound comes into play. In the ancient Indian tradition, people who made temples, who created these magnificent places of worship, they knew about the ability of the sound to affect human consciousness. And that is why the idea of having bells and drums played in the temple came to be born. So when you go to a holy place and there are some bells playing or the drums playing, you automatically get drawn into a space of silence, a space of comfort. Those people who have traveled to Europe or even in India, some of these old cathedrals or churches, they have these big bells, huge bells. And when these bells play, you just sit there and focus on the sound, and very soon you can be drawn into an inner space of comfort. So there is something amazing about all these things that have been used in the past, but the science of it was not known. Our scientists have done a tremendous amount of study on various frequencies, what frequency can do what work, which frequency is going to affect a person's mind in a particular manner. But These were observations. The science or the technology, how it works, was not really known. And that is where we have to be very grateful to a Japanese businessman and a scientist whose name was Masaru Emoto. I would like to show you his picture. I don't have it here. Okay. So I don't have it here right now. He was a person who was very much interested in science. He was a businessman. And he did something very simple. He took droplets of water and placed those droplets under observation with the help of very high powered microscopes. And then helpful sounds or healing affirmations were given to that water. Prayer was said to that water. And lo and behold, under the microscope, it could be seen that the structure of the water began to change. And when this water was frozen, the water crystals that were formed were shining like diamonds, and they had a very pleasing, a very aesthetic structure. Normal water, when it is taken and put under the microscope, it does not show that kind of thing. And even polluted water shows a totally different, dirty picture. And he also showed that if the same water was given an input which was unhelpful, like somebody says, "Oh, you are an idiot, you are a fool, you are useless," then the kind of structure that was seen under the microscope was very random, and it showed a certain kind of emotional disturbance in the water. So what Dr. Masaru Emoto with his experiments proved or came to observe was that water can relate to the emotions that are being given to it. So if the emotions are positive emotions, the water experiences a certain kind of healing. And if the emotions are negative emotions, then the water gets very, very perturbed. Now we all know that 70% of our body is water. So because 70% of the body is water, whatever input is given, water is going to absorb that input, and that input is going to help it improve further or create some disturbances. And you will be surprised to see some of the things that Dr. Masaru Emoto arrived. What is the power of words? So you can see it on your screen. I am sharing the screen with you. Water, when it was put under the microscope and it was given this input, thank you. the water experienced a kind of structural change, this beautiful change, very aesthetic. And it became like this when frozen. When it was given a kind of hint about wisdom, then the change was like this. So each time a different emotion was given or a different thought was projected onto the water, the shining crystals that came into existence, they were unique and different. So when truth was said to the water, this is how it became. When eternal, the suggestion of being eternal was given, then the water changed itself into this kind of a structure. So this is something like angel, I love you. You see how shining the water crystals are. It's quite close to the truth. Love is God and love is truth. So you see how the changes came. Peace. But at the same time, when the water was told, you fool, you idiot, then this is what was observed under the microscope. You see how fuzzy and challenging the water is feeling right now. When the suggestion was given, you make me sick, the water became sick. And these two pictures are very, very illustrative. I will share them separately. These are pictures of Masaru Emoto took water from the most polluted lake of Japan. So this polluted water, when it was observed under the microscope, it was like this. And then some healing frequencies were played to that water, or prayer was said to that water. And this is what it became. It started purifying itself and it started shining. So Masaru Emoto came to this conclusion with all these experiments that water has emotions and it responds to our emotions or the energy fields or vibrations that it is subjected to. Now, 70% of our body is water. There are, on an average, 60 to 70 trillion cells in our body. And each cell has fluid inside. So just imagine how the body is getting affected by the kind of input that we give to each cell or the fluid in each cell. So this is a big discovery about how sound works. And sound is energy, thought is energy, emotion is energy. So the kind of energy we embrace is what we are giving to our body. The fluids in the body are going to change, and if the fluids are going to change in a positive manner, then this is going to manifest as healing. But if the fluids are going to change in a negative sense, then disease is bound to come up. So this is the secret of sound healing. What we do is that we give pure energy, which is high vibration and frequency, and that energy gets into each cell of the body. The fluid content begins to change, and because the fluid content within the body is being raised in energy and vibration. That is how healing happens. And that is why sound healing is so effective. More than the physical body, it takes care of the mind. Because everything is mind. Mind is the body and the body is the mind. Normally, if we look at things physically, the brain is just a part of the body. But if we were to ask ourselves, where is the mind? Can we ever figure out where the mind is? Brain is just the instrument by which, it's the physical instrument by which we perceive the mind. But the mind is all omnipresent. It is there in every part of the body, every cell. And that is how every cell has its own intelligence. You look at this body of 60, 70 trillion cells, which is more than the population of this world, the human population. And yet everything is working in tandem. As long as the cells are doing the assigned jobs, disease is not there. But if the cells begin to have some kind of an evil intelligence, or they are out of line, their behavior is out of line, then disease crops up. So when healing sound frequencies are given, the shift in the intelligence of the cells starts happening. And because there is a shift for the positive, many diseases, many things, or many disabilities start disappearing. So sound energy is energy healing. In energy healing, what we do is that we directly import or transfer energy into the body. And because the cells are carrying better energy and vibration and frequency, healing begins to happen. So this is, in short, the secret of healing through sound. This is how, through positive suggestions, healing can happen. I can give my own example. When I retired, we were just, deciding, everybody decides what their future is going to be, what they do need to do. In my family, my father, my brothers, they died relatively early. So I just told my wife, I don't look beyond 66. Now this very thought that I need not live after 66, this thought started working on the cells. The cells noticed this thought. And by the time I was 66, there was a complete breakdown in the body. Many diseases started surfacing. And my health was in a complete disarray. Luckily for me, I got involved into healing and other things, some other positive stuff. So the thought pattern changed. The idea that I no longer needed to live, it was replaced by the idea that I need to live because I have to offer something to people. And because there was a shift in this idea, this thought process, what I found was that many of the diseases disappeared. I had a frozen shoulder for 2 years. It just disappeared, and no amount of physiotherapy was helping, but it just disappeared. I got my medical tests, annual tests done. The diabetes, the slight diabetes I had, it has been reversed. I had prostate, that has been reversed. Now these are diseases which don't get reversed so easily. But why? Because there was a thought process that got changed. The thought that you don't have to live beyond 66 was replaced, that I want to live. And it made a difference to me. So this is how it works. So when we bring higher frequency and vibration energy into the body, many things happen. And how it happens, that was demonstrated or established by another scientist, one Dr. David Hawkins. He was an American scientist and he spent all his life studying human emotions and thought processes. So with that, he came up with this chart of consciousness, human consciousness. So what he did was that he found out various emotions and he created a logarithmic scale whereby the value of the emotion in terms of energy was measured. So we all know, we must have experienced that when we get depressed or when we are feeling guilty or we are in shame, suddenly the energy levels of the body go down. Everybody has experienced this. So this is visible here because when he did this plotting, shame, guilt and apathy, these are the lowest energy emotions. The person who is living in apathy or guilt or shame, his energy is very low. Somebody living in fear, anxiety, his energy is low. So how, as the emotions change, the energy levels go up. So when desire comes, a person has desire, he wants to attain something, he has to do, he makes some effort. So there is some momentum. So energy level is 125. On this scale, it is 125. Anger has a still higher energy, 150. Though it is negative, it is going to affect the person, maybe kill him even, but it has more energy. Pride, somebody takes pride in something, he has more energy. Though it is a low emotion. The turnaround happens when one comes across courage. Courage is 200, neutrality 250, willingness, acceptance. A person is able to accept himself or herself as he or she is, and yet decides to work for some upliftment. So then comes reason, because for any work you have to have reason. You should be able to think without getting involved emotionally. And if somebody reaches this frequency of 500, that is love. There is a complete turnaround in life. So this is a journey from shame, guilt, apathy to love. That is the minimum we need. And when we are established in love, then when we give our body this thought, oh, I love you, this positive emotion, everything within the body, all the organs within the body, they listen to this thought and they start becoming great friends. They start changing their behavior. Something which is negative or which is unhelpful, it begins to change and the body begins to cooperate completely with the person. Beyond love, there is joy. A person becomes happy without reason. In the ancient Indian scriptures, it says Satchitananda. There is truth and there is awareness of the truth, and when there is awareness of the truth, there is joy. Joy without reason, bliss. And beyond this, there is peace, because when a person is in love and joy, he or she is going to be in peace. And beyond that is enlightenment. So this is a chart of human consciousness. And you see these lower frequencies, this is contracted, and after about 175 or 150, there is a turnaround and it comes expanded consciousness. We call it pure Dao. The Chinese call it pure Dao. So, how do we go there? So, one way to change our life is by changing our thought patterns. But changing the thought pattern is not easy. We all struggle with this. There in the US or in the West, there are people who keep going to the psychologist session after session, and there is a lot of to and fro and positive suggestions, affirmations. People keep doing it, and yet it doesn't work. So how does it work? So what we need to do, what Dr. David Hawkins proved through this chart with the work of his lifetime was that if you rise in frequency and vibration, if you rise in energy, suddenly you are no longer caught in negativities. And this is what sound healing does. When sound is played, the energy is being absorbed by the body and the cells, and they are being raised in frequency and vibration. And as the cells are being raised in the frequency and vibration, any negative emotions or negative tendencies these cells have, those negative tendencies are just given away. They are no longer held captive to those negative tendencies and they become free. And as the cells are being raised in frequency and vibration, the diseases which are associated with these negative emotions, those diseases or disabilities begin to leave. So this is how sound healing works. And this is why it is so effective. See, a lot of people say, oh, we must learn to love others. But how does a person love? For experiencing love, you have to vibrate at this frequency of 500. So as long as a person is not vibrating at this frequency, for him or her, love is just a concept. There will not be a breakthrough in life. But if somebody is receiving this kind of healing and he starts or she starts vibrating at 500, love is experienced just like that. So this is how it works. And I have learned sound healing from my Guruji, Dr. Premji Nirmal. I have met so many spiritual masters and I was into spiritual life. But I learned sound healing from him. I will share his picture with you. Here is Guruji and his wife, Guruma Bharti Nirmal. And this is Mahavatar Babaji. There is a saint who is supposed to be ageless and he appears before people and guides them. So Babaji had appeared before Guruji and he had instructed him to do certain things which he is doing. Guruji happens to be not just a spiritual master but a scientist. He was an electronics engineer who ran an industry. And because of his scientific background, he was very much interested in finding out a scientific solution to healing. And he found that sound healing was being done over a long period of time. But the challenge the scientists were facing was this, that whenever a sound is played, it has a mix of frequencies. So to have the perfect healing, single frequency sounds were needed. And those sounds had to be produced naturally. Scientists had found this kind of a solution that computer generated sounds could be created. But the observation was that computer generated sounds do not heal. They heal just about 15%, 20%, and no more. Only naturally produced sounds have this tremendous ability to heal. So how to produce a given frequency sound naturally? That was the challenge, and that is what Guruji did. He was doing his research for about 13 years, working with various models, various techniques, and he spent about 1 crore of rupees from his pocket. And then he came across the technology. So he created something like tuned healing pipes. So you can see the pipe here. So this is a pipe. Now it has a frequency of ohm. So if it is played, only one frequency can be heard. Now this is a frequency for unconditional love, 540 Hertz. We talked about love. So if it is played, only that one single frequency of 540 Hertz will be heard. This is the frequency of nature, 432 Hertz. So with this technology of naturally produced single frequency sounds, the healing is very powerful. And there are so many frequencies, things can be targeted. Targeted healing can be given for various aspects of life. So this is in short a kind of an introduction to sound healing, why we do sound healing and how it works. And of course we still use these bowls which you must have seen at so many places, but the kind of bowls we use, those bowls are also certified bowls, a specific frequency. Though there will still be in a bowl, because it is hand beaten, it is not possible to restrict to one frequency. The person who is making the bowl, he also doesn't know what kind of frequency the bowl will emit. But what Guruji does is that he tests all the bowls, hundreds of bowls he tests. Then he finds some bowl which is carrying a frequency which is helpful or which is relatable to a particular issue, or I normally use them for chakra healing. There are 7 chakras in the body and each chakra can be healed with the help of these sounds. You can just listen to them. Some of these sounds are very good. So this is what we do in sound healing, and it is just to give you a foretaste of what sound healing is like. I will give you a small demo, and from Monday onwards we are going to give 45-minute long sessions, and 3 sessions every day, on 5 o'clock in the morning in India, another one at 6:15 in Hindi, that first one will be in English, and then at another one at 3 p.m. in the afternoon in English. So because there were some people who demanded a session in Hindi, so I included another session. So you are most welcome to attend these sessions and see, experience what sound healing does to you. If life is going on very well, still you can feel some kind of a significant change in certain aspects of life. If there are some challenges in some areas, you can share those challenges with me when I give those sessions. I will try to include those frequencies which can help. There are frequencies that can help alleviate pain. Lot of people who have taken sound healing over a period of time, they have found that their aches and pains have disappeared. People who do yoga regularly, they have found that because after taking sound healing, the kind of facility they have got or the efficiency they have got in getting into certain postures and holding on to that posture is totally unimaginable. There are people whose lives have changed because there are frequencies that can harmonize the brain. There are 4 quadrants of the brain, and because the communication between these quadrants is not proper, there are relationship challenges. We all have one or the other relationship which is challenging. We are looking for a change. If we bring about that change within ourselves and harmonize the 4 quadrants of the brain, then relationship challenges on the outside will disappear. There are certain frequencies which can activate the whole brain. So if there are issues of, say, with senior people, there are issues of dementia, there are issues of challenges, memory loss. So at some point of time, these frequencies can activate the brain cells in the body and thereby improve the functioning of the brain. And even if the disease is not reversed, it can be arrested. There are people who had, there was one lady who had migraine for 25 years, and every month she used to have almost 2 episodes of migraine. And she took sound healing for about a year. She attended all my programs and migraine disappeared. So there are people who have had this amazing, transformation in their lives. So 15 sessions are going to be offered. You can just avail of these. Of course, the discipline has to be there. Previously, I used to give recordings of all the sessions. Now I don't give, because for these sessions, attending the session live is important. So those who listen to these recordings, they don't get that benefit. And for anything good, one has to create some kind of a discipline or make time. So that is what is needed. And so you are welcome to enjoy this and see for yourself what it does. We will just do a small session. So if you have not had water, please drink a glass or 2 of water, because a well-hydrated body receives sound healing better. And as we saw in Masaru Emoto's experiment, sound works on water. So those people who have not had water, they can just get up and have a glass of water. And if everybody has taken that, then it is wonderful. Just close your eyes. And we have 7 chakras in the body, from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. These chakras are not in the physical body, but they are in the energy body. And each chakra determines a certain aspect of our life. We will learn about these things in greater detail when the sessions start. For this session, I will just be playing the 7 bowls. the sounds of which correspond to the frequency of these chakras. So just close your eyes and listen to these sounds and enjoy them. And see how you feel. You can just open your eyes, gradually become aware of surroundings. Take a few moments to become aware of how your body and mind are feeling right now. If there are any movements of energy anywhere, just keep your attention there and let those movements arise and subside. And when you're ready, you can bring yourself completely into the present moment, in the here and now. This was a small sample of sound healing. We will be doing it for much longer period of time on other days because we will have time. So if anybody has any questions, you're most welcome, or if you have any experience to share, you're most welcome to unmute yourself and speak. I had changed the settings so that people cannot unmute themselves. Now the settings have changed. So if anybody wants to speak, yes, Paru, go ahead.
What I wanted to ask is that this sound healing, you had mentioned that it heals certain parts, certain ailments. Now, does one have to continue this for a certain time, or can it be stopped after a while, or how does this work?
You see, it is like this that every body responds differently.
Mm-hmm.
There are some who may need prolonged sessions. I
Mm-hmm.
give free sessions every Saturday, two free sessions every Saturday. I have
Mm-hmm.
been doing this for the last 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some programs which are paid programs because they have a certain focus, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to, give it in a group. There are some people who can take even one-on-one private
Mm-hmm.
sessions, but it all depends upon how the body or the person responds. For some people, these 15 sessions are going to be quite good. So you just
Okay.
take it. Those who don't
Okay.
want to take it, or who are, casual visitors, they
Okay.
may not receive anything from sound healing because you
Right.
come for just the feel good factor. So
Mm-hmm.
they come for a few sessions, they feel good, but the consistent healing, consistent raising of the frequency and vibration of the cells
Mm-hmm.
must happen.
Okay.
Yes. So you see how it works for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And does it matter if you are virtually doing it or in person? Is one better than the other or no?
No, there will be some slight that in person it will be, offline it would be slightly better. But what we do is we are using the best quality equipment
Correct.
and we
Okay.
have tested it. So when a frequency is played, it is more or less the same frequency which is transmitted to you.
Okay.
Unless you have a
Okay.
very bad internet connection or a very bad set of phone or computer, you will
Mm-hmm.
get it in an authentic frequency. So
Okay.
it works. But of course,
Okay.
there is no substitute for offline. Once you are
Right.
sitting
Right.
somewhere and somebody is playing, it's a
Right.
different.
Right.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
you're most welcome. Yes, Vibha, you want to ask?
Uh, yes, well, first, I wanted to say thank you so much for doing this. Your explanation of the water molecules and the level of consciousness chart, it made a lot of sense why sound healing would be helpful. So, thank you for doing that. And my question is that when we do these classes and focus on the different sounds, do the sounds automatically change the energy in different areas where there are problems? Say, for example, I have thyroid nodules. Do I have to focus on that intentionally? That I want to, at
If
some
you
point,
can focus, it is
and
better because there is power in our awareness. So wherever the awareness goes, the energy works better there. But
okay,
even if you are not focusing, the body is listening. In one of my programs, one participant came back to me and said, well, I will not take this program this time. I asked her, what is wrong? She said, you see, my mother is visiting me and I lost my father a few years back, but my mother has not been able to come to terms with the loss. And she has become unmanageable. Her temper is very short, she gets upset very easily, and I don't know how to handle her. And I am not in a position to give my attention to the sound healing that you are giving. So maybe I would join another program some other time. So I said, oh, since your mother is there, why don't you put your mother before the set and let her listen to the sounds? And initially she said yes, but then she said, well, I don't think it is going to work because my mother is hard of hearing. And we have to shout into her ears for her to make out anything. So if she is not going to hear, how is this sound healing going to help her? And I said, well, her body would be listening. Because what is sound energy doing? It is raising the frequency and vibration of the cells. So if you just put the session on the speaker and let her sit in a chair or a reclining chair, if it is there, it is good. Let her just be there. That's it. And there were 7 sessions left in that program. And at the end of the session, when everybody was giving a feedback, this lady also gave a feedback as to what had happened to her. And I asked her, what happened to your mother? And she said, oh, she's quite manageable now. So
wow.
this is how it works. So even if you are not paying attention, your body is paying attention. The body is listening.
Okay. I have one more question then. When we are doing the affirmations while we listen to the sound healing.
You don't have to do anything. No affirmations needed.
Oh, okay. So because my confusion was, do I say, if I have a lot of knee pain, so do I say I'm fine, or do I say I have no pain left? What is it
No,
that I'm
no,
supposed?
don't do anything, but just give your love to your knee. I love my knee.
Okay.
Oh, my knee, I love you. Please enjoy these sound frequencies. That's it. And
Okay.
even if you just speak to your knee and offer the knee a lot of love, you will find that the knee becomes more cooperative. Because love is the biggest healer.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that receives love, that will start functioning better.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? रेखा नतुल मेहता आपने अनम्यूट किया है
Yes. Good
हाँ
morning.
गुड
Good
मॉर्निंग
morning, Prabhuji. I enjoyed the session. I felt very energetic, brain cells, and felt very peaceful.
because towards
Yes.
the end we play some of these frequencies which just put people in a quiet space.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
would like 5 a.m. session, not 6.
No, there are these 3 sessions, so you
Okay,
can
fine.
attend any of them.
Okay.
So, but only thing is that I had asked for some language preference because there were some people who said, we want programs in Hindi, you don't do anything in Hindi.
Okay.
Now, my challenge is that the 5 a.m. program, some people from US join. So if there are foreigners on that program, I cannot do the program in Hindi. And even the 3 p.m. program, it is 5:30 in the morning in the US. So one or two persons join from US. So because of their presence, I have to do those programs in English. So that is how I carved out another session which I had not promised, because people wanted it in Hindi. So I said, okay, from 6:15 to 7, I will do a session in Hindi.
Okay, I'll enjoy and be in the session. Thank you.
So you can
Thank
join
you.
any session. Anybody can join any session. Suppose you
So
find
6,
it.
3 p.m. and the next third session is of what time?
Per session is about 45 minutes. But don't take
No,
too
no,
many of them, because if too much of energy goes into the body,
no, no. Timing I would like to know.
then you may find that you find it difficult to sleep.
Prabhuji, 6
Yes.
a.m. I'm in Mumbai. 3 p.m. and third session what time?
No, that is 5 a.m. is the first session. 6:15 is the second session.
Okay.
And 3 p.m. is the third session.
Thank you. Thank
3
you.
p.m. I am not very sure, because some work is going on in an adjoining flat. So there can be a lot of disturbance. So we might shift the 3 p.m. session to 2 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Most welcome. Anybody else? सुनील, आपको कैसा लगा? No, you have to unmute yourself, Sunil.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
To speak, okay.
Yes, now we can hear
हाँ,
it loud and clear.
हाँ, बहुत इम्पैक्टफुल सेशन था, और इंट्रोडक्टरी सेशन के लिए इट्स ए वेरी वेल थॉट आउट सेशन. मैंने बहुत दिनों के बाद अटेंड किया, तो बहुत बहुत जानकारी मिली, और मैं साथ ही साथ उसको अपने अंदर रिलेट भी कर रहा था.
The idea, Sunil, was that in a regular session, there is not much time to speak, so people cannot be really told about how sound frequency works. And there is something that I wanted to show everybody. I forgot there, that this is the kind of, I spoke about affirmations that, when love is offered, or truth is said, or eternal is said, then how water crystals form. And these are water crystals on the solfeggio frequencies. Solfeggio
Right.
frequencies are healing frequencies. So the frequency of, harmonizing the communication in the 4 quadrants of the brain, the frequency of fear removal, and all those frequencies are solfeggio frequencies. So this is how the water behaves when solfeggio frequencies are played. So just to give everybody an idea that this is not some mumbo jumbo, this is pure science, but it is empirical science. You have to experience it for yourself, then you will know what it is. So I think no more questions are there? Any
I
more?
have one question.
Yes.
The session was very calming, and the sounds were very pleasant, but the mind still kept drifting. Thoughts kept coming. What is the easiest way to bring yourself back to not, I cannot say don't think, but how do I minimize the extra thoughts coming in?
You have to raise your frequency to the enlightenment zone. That is 700 hertz. So when you get into this zone, there will be no thought. Right? Now, why you cannot get there is that the mind has been trained to think for so many lifetimes. So now you have to untrain the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. It cannot happen overnight. Mind is like a river in flow. So can you make the river flow from the plains to the top of the mountain? Just like
No.
that? No,
No.
cannot. So that is why there is this analogy that when the flow happens, it is dhara. What is the nature of dhara? It flows from top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to become Radha. Dhara and Radha both have the same alphabet. But the nature is totally different. Radha is flowing towards the apex of the mountain, the highest consciousness, Krishna.
Mhm.
So we have to train the mind so that it becomes Radha from Dhara.
Mm-hmm.
We have taken thousands of years and so many hundreds of lifetimes to train it to become Dhara. So we will take some time to train it to become Radha. It will happen in its own time.
Okay.
You don't have to worry. So that is why they say that don't bother about the mind. Mind's nature is to think. Let it think. You put your attention to something which is soothing, which is going to stop the mind. So you put your attention on the sound, you put your attention on the breath,
Mm.
and the mind will stop.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Paru, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Viba's question. So, assuming that as you are healing, with the sound therapy, if you will, then the frequency will get to a higher level. As
Yes.
you are healing, the frequency will go higher. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Guru.
And then Masaru Emoto's experiments also showed that
Okay.
the kind of structural change that happens in the water when it is
Right.
exposed to healing frequencies, that change lasts.
Right.
It
Okay.
is not that when the moment the frequencies are withdrawn that the water gets back to its original state. So,
Okay.
so when
Okay.
we receive sound healing,
Hmm.
there is going to be a change in the very structure of things within the cells.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that change is going to endure.
All right. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question. Thank you so much. And we will meet again when the
Yes.
program starts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.